Hey, it's Jason here. Thanks for tuning in. I'm sitting inside of the 2003 Land Rover Range Rover L322, which is the model with the BMW V8 engine. If you've been following my blog and my story of this vehicle, last year, July, August, I got it for free, minus a few expenses I incurred, and I was told it needed a lot of work. Admittedly, some of this work was work that I could not do myself. Some of it was work I have done myself. And I want to go over the main items that I had to do to this vehicle. 17 years old. When I got it, air suspension faults, lights on the dash everywhere, transmission faults. It wouldn't go into gear. Quite a bit of things were wrong with it. So as you can see now, it's fired up. It's running. I don't have plates on it yet. It has 216,000 miles, but everything works as you would expect it to work. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off. It is 27 degrees today, so it's a cold one and no issues. First was the ABS modulator. We had to replace all the components, and basically put a refurbished ABS modulator in it. That cost around $1,200 to do. Next, the steering angle sensor. The steering angle sensor was bad. If you ever replace a steering column, you know there's a sensor in it. I've never in my life heard of them going bad, but this sensor in the steering column, the steering angle sensor, was bad, so that had to be replaced. Next, we had a antifreeze and coolant leak. The expansion tank was cracked and bad. We had to put a new expansion tank in it. We also had on the oil pan, all of the bolts were just seized up. They all had to be screwed out and redone. We also had to put in a new shifter. There was a mechanism in the shifter that was bad. I actually don't know exactly what it was, but it was only $100, so I'm sure it was something minor that was causing one of the electronic errors to pop up. We also had to replace the actual infotainment display, the radio display. I secured one out of a junk car in Texas for $100, and we put it in, and of course it worked as described. In conjunction to that, we had the actual valve cover gaskets were leaking. So we didn't do a whole job on it. We strictly replaced the valve cover gaskets to fix the leak, so that way oil wasn't being sucked in, and that way it wouldn't actually throw an error code. So that was all good there. And then, of course, it needed a four-wheel alignment. So the biggie thing on this car that had to be done in order to even get it, you know, with all the faults, was the ABS module. It's expensive, I'm not going to lie. Everything else was relatively affordable. I did do a transmission service. You know, that fluid alone is, you know, like $300 or so. So you can kind of get an idea there. I think they charge me about $300 for the service. So I put some money into a vehicle that most would say wasn't a good fiscal decision. As you know, I collect Land Rovers, and I really was eager to keep one on the road that had the BMW V8. So all of that work, I'm going to do a walk around of it after this, and you can check out what it looks like inside and out. And I appreciate you watching. I'm going to go ahead and drive around and enjoy it. Thanks. Hey, it's Jason. The 2003 Land Rover Range Rover is done, minus a few little tiny cosmetic things. This car was about 8 months of work. Some of it I did, most of it a shop in Richmond, Virginia did. I had it towed 180 miles down there because of their expertise on L322s, and a lot of the parts I needed I got from various Land Rovers that were being dismantled. This is a black one. It originated in California. Then it lived a lot of its life on the eastern shore of Maryland. It has minimal rust, really no rust, and the body's in decent shape. Let's go ahead and do a walk around of this car. I'm pretty excited about it. If you remember, this is one that I got for free, basically. Small fees to tag and title it and register it, but it was no cost. Minor things to do. Replacing the bulb down here, you know, that's cracked. I need to probably get a good clay bar on it. The paint, I did a quick wax, but it's winter, it's February, so I didn't do what I'll do come spring, and I'll get some of these blemishes out. But overall, it has the roof rack with the kayak adapter. It came with a bike rack. I do need to fix some of the plastics, such as the plastic panel that covers all of that. I have the panel, but the tabs are broken. We had to do a lot of work on this car to get it to the point where it's at. Valve gaskets, ABS modules, lots of other electronics, shifter levers, and all the routine maintenance. I'll outline all of that at the end of this video just to give a good idea. Let's go ahead and take a look inside. It has the tan interior. That is in that's in decent shape. It has some of the typical areas where, if you look here, the paint has kind of came off and bubbled, but this is a 17-year-old car. I had to replace the digital screen. Kind of a pain to get that. Everything else functions as you would expect in the vehicle. I think that's kind of interesting, a hidden cassette player. I didn't know that existed until I was told. The back seat is in really good shape. I've cleaned this car to the extent I can in February. You can see everything here in the back. I really like the design of the L322. I think it's very luxurious, spacious, very comfortable to drive. Let's go ahead and start this bad boy up. You can see the tilt steering wheel works. The screen works as you would expect. It has 216,026 miles. This was a car that was destined for the junkyard. We kept it out of the junkyard, and I'm adding it to my collection of Land Rovers. Some of the additional work I need to do is replace all the struts for the hood and the trunk. I'll rewrap this wire that's all exposed. But the engine runs really nice. This is the BMW engine. I have to admit, I mean, it probably wasn't the most fiscally responsible decision to fix this truck up. But I think in 10 years, when this vehicle is 27 years old, or you know, when it's 30 years old, having an L322 example with a BMW engine V8 is something that would be cool to have. So we kept it. It's gonna live a nice little life here. I won't drive it a ton, but the immediate thing I need to do is get it inspected for Maryland. It's not 20 years old, so I can't tag it until I have it inspected. I'm hoping that goes okay. And then I need to replace the front air strut. After about a week, it loses air and sags a little bit. But that is the 2003 Land Rover Range Rover L322 with the BMW V8. That was destined for the junkyard. I got it, and it is now going to continue to live a nice life. Thanks for watching.